We spent the last week or two factoring, but we haven't really given you a reason why we would want to factor. So we're going today to talk about solving some equations, and next week we're going to combine solving these equations with factoring. So to do this, we introduce something called the zero product property. And it's based off of problems like this. If I want to solve each of these equations, I have 4 times x equals 0. We know that we would divide both sides by 4, and it would say x equals 0 divided by 4. But there's a rule that said 0 divided by any number is still 0. If I take 20x equals 0 and I divide both sides by 20, I get x equals 0 divided by 20, which is 0. Negative 5x times 0. Divide both sides by negative 5. 0 divided by negative 5 is still 0. 1,253x equals 0. Divide both sides by the 1,253. 1,253. I get x equals 0 divided by 1,253, which is still 0. If we look at these equations kind of in a general sense, what we're saying is in all of them I have a number times x equals 0. Well, the only number that you can multiply to get 0 is 0. So every one of these equations has an answer of 0. The zero product property, product is multiplication, this is a product of 0, says if a times b equals 0, then either a equals 0, b equals 0, or both a and b equals 0. In other words, if you're going to multiply to get 0, one of the things you are multiplying has to be 0. So we're going to use the zero product property to solve some equations. We can use zero product property to solve equations that are, first of all, set equal to 0, and second of all, in factored form. Today, they're already going to be factored for you. For example, I have x times x minus 4 equals 0. This is a factored form. There are two things that are being multiplied, x and x minus 4. When I have two things that multiply to equal 0, then one of them must be 0. So I'm going to set each factor equal to 0. Either x equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. This equation is already solved. Over here I have x minus 4, so I have to add the 4 to the other side, and I get a second solution of x equals 4. These equations will have multiple answers. Another example, x minus 3 times x plus 2 equals 0. These factors are multiplying each other. Two things multiply to equal 0, then one of them, or both of them, must equal 0 by the zero product property. I take each factor and set it equal to 0, and then I solve these simple linear equations. And again, here I had two factors, so I get two answers. Couple more examples. Here I have 4x times x plus 7 equals 0. Again, always check that it's equal to 0 before you do anything. If it is, set each factor equal to 0. And what you'll notice is that that 4 in the front doesn't change that answer of 0. Here I subtract the 7 from both sides. I get x equals negative 7. Over here, I have the factor 2x plus 7 times x minus 5. Set each factor equal to 0, and then solve each equation. This is a two-step linear equation. I need to subtract the 7 from both sides first, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And you can leave an answer, negative 7 halves, or you could change that to a decimal, which is negative 3.5. Over here, I'm going to add 5, and I get x equals 5. So I have two factors, two solutions. X plus 7 times x minus 7 equals 0. As long as it's equal to 0, set each factor equal to 0. And you're going to just show the solving work as you go. This one was negative 7. This one is positive 7. Last one, 3x minus 1 and x plus 11 are my factors. And again, they multiply to equal 0. So I set each one equal to 0. Here I would add the 1 first. I get 3x equals 1. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And again, leave the fraction. 1 over 3 is 1/3. I don't need to divide that out. And if I did, I would have to round or show the repeating decimal. Here I'm going to subtract 11. I get x equals -11. One thing you'll probably notice as you go through this is that anytime the factor has x plus a number, your answer is negative. Anytime the factor has an x minus a number, your answer is positive. And that is a pattern that always holds true because you're going to add to the other side when it's a minus and subtract to the other side when it's a plus. You're going to do the zero product property today, and then we're going to put all these things together for a couple days next week. There will be one last quiz next week, and then we will wrap things up for the school year.